Hello again, it's the next day. Let me just put myself into shot. So, the wing we're going to unwrap in a moment. I just wanted to take a look at the next steps. The next steps are what appears to be the cockpit floor with two sets of pedals and the control stick. And they need to be put together and put down into the top of the wing. So it looks like this. If I put it on this camera. So we're going to try and find the control stick, find the pedals, and find whatever this is. I'm not even sure what it is. Clearly we need to put these together, paint it, and then paint the base of this as well with some shade. Now, I have been looking, as you can see here, at the colour inside a Hurricane Mark II. It's actually a Hurricane Mark IIA. In the the National Museum of the US Air Force, strangely enough. If I remember correctly, we swapped I think we swapped the last Typhoon with America, with the US Air Force Museum for a Hurricane. We had a couple of Hurricanes, and we strangely didn't keep a Typhoon, so we swapped them. We can see there's controls on the side here. We can see a lip of red, which I will put on the fuselage when we get to it. We can see the colour up ahead. The only hint of this thing is this in the picture. Obviously this is the control handle. We can see the distinctive gun ring. This is like striped material, and so's this. So let's find it. It reckons it's on sprue C. I can see it already on the bottom of the pile. So here we are on sprue C, and here it is, and it is indeed like striped. It is clearly that thing. So this needs to be black, dry, and then we need to dry brush it with silver. Here's the control stick just in front, and here are the control pedals. Now I've hinted before that these are like my nemesis, my nemeses. We can get this off though fairly easily because the holding sides are directly in line with the plastic. So that's the first cut. There we go. Here's the second cut. There we go. So that's the first piece. Control stick though isn't going to be so easy. It isn't going to play ball. There's the first piece. There's the second piece. Now this needs cleaning up some because we've got a lip of plastic on this upper side. Let me get this in focus. Don't worry, I'm not having some holy visitor. The sun's just out. There we go. That's better. So that's going to go into this circle here, strangely. It doesn't want to fit. I think that's because there's actually not enough of the base off. There we go. We'll try again. I'm not using glue yet, this is just dry fitting. Seems good, but it doesn't seem positive. So what I'll do is get my drill, wherever it is. So there is the drill. Here are the drill bits, and I reckon that is just shy of 1 millimeter. This is a 0.9mm drill bit. Just going to try it. Yep, that feels right. So let's give you a better view of what I'm doing. Let's put this in the drill. Just like that. And I'm going to use the weight of the drill. I'm not going to push on it. Just put it in position, and I'm just going to drill this out. Just like that. Let's try that dry fit again. So looking at the picture, the reference picture, the control is that way round. So the cocking angle, this angle here is correct. It's better. So now I will use a tiny touch of this. This is the Tamiya extra thin. I'm just going to fill the hole with it. Line this up correctly. Push it on. Nope. Simply won't go in. There we go. So now I'll leave that. Make sure the handle is directly parallel to the part. So that's the first part today. So the next part is actually these pedals. We've got to get them off the sprue. And I'm turning the sprue this way over because the injection points are on the underside. So this way it actually stands up. If you put the pressure on it, that actually causes issues with the part that way. So if I do it, how is it meant to fix? Let's just check how it's meant to fix before I cut. So they're going to stand up, and I'm going to guess they stand up on this protuberance here. So if I cut the protuberance below it, we leave it in place. Hopefully don't break anything else in the process. Okay, that's put strain on the part. I really hate cutting very thin parts from the sprue. One, that's two, it's off. Before anybody wonders as well, this is a newish blade. It was put on just before the 110 build. I don't think a new blade is worth it for every single build, but for some it works. I just want to look at the pedals, if there's any reference for the pedals. See, here's another image of the same thing. If I can get this image up close, Hawker Hurricane. So this is flightjournal.com. And what we've got here is where the whole cockpit and everything is in the green. So not sure if this was a rebuild. Yeah, it looks like this was a rebuild of the box construction, and that's it in rebuild. So I don't take that as canon, but I believe this museum quality item is canon. We can see the strap in the bucket seat as well, so we'll look at that later. Let's just see which way around they go. They should go that way around. I need a pair of flat tweezers to maneuver this around. Where are my flat blunt tweezers? So much for organising all my stuff. They're points. They're points. They're all points. I know I've got a pair of flat tweezers. Oh well. So these are reversed tweezers, so they should hold onto the item without any effort. And it's going to go on this way around. As far as I'm concerned, they are not going to go in there very well. I need to use my fingers because this just doesn't look like it's going in properly at all. Nope. I think my challenge is to shave off excess plastic from this piece. Just like that. There we go. And now we'll try the tweezers again. Nope. Not happy with that look. It's not clear from the image which way round they should go. I'm thinking about the shape of the foot, so you'd have it flat on the deck, slightly angled on the matted piece here on this upward rise, and then onto the pedal it'd be up like this. So you're looking as if you've gone into the plane, whereas the way I had them, it looked like you're almost inverting the foot. So I think it's probably meant to be this way round. Like that. I'm just letting the extra thin paint glue run into the points down there. So we've now got the control stick and the pedals on. Not that impressed, but we'll see. So we need now side of the cockpits, seat building. So we've got controls with a transfer, seat and armour backing. So we're looking at D5. Let's move that over there and recap the knife for safety. And let's look for D5. I think this is D actually, but I can see the part. So this is the armoured plate, D5. clean this up. And the seat is on B6. So the seat is here. Actually quite a nasty seam on the seat. I'm going to paint the seat, and then as per this image here, I'm going to cut some tape and splay it out and over the side as if it is that strap. We can't really see it anywhere else. There's this image where the whole seat is brown. But that's a Spitfire. Sorry, that's a Spitfire Mark 7. It's not a Hurricane. There, it's a Spitfire. It looks different. So we're looking for the Hurricane again. It doesn't really show as much beyond the straps being present. The seat is black. We've got a strap from the rear up and over and in, so we can do that strap, we can do these straps, we can go from there. You can see the tubular frame as well. There's obviously none of that in the model, but that's as needs be. So let's just dry fit this by hand. I'm not sure how it's meant to fit. I think it's like that. Yeah. So this notch is meant to land on that notch. I think it's going to be easier to paint this green than that black. So we'll go from there. This is true Schwarz black, by the way. And a little bit of blue tack just to hold it for me. Just like this. It's getting darker now, the sun's gone. There you go. Set the seat aside to dry a moment. And I'm going to look at mixing a light green for the cockpit. But before I do, let's just tidy up the drill bit. And let's get the fuselages together, because there is detail in here. We can see it. So all the inside of the fuselage and that are going to be this green that will mix. That's my new white. That's my old white for mixing. I have an old white for mixing. I have the dark green there. That went wrong. That's what happens when you don't let your paint settle after shaking it. It's completely and totally my fault. But we've got a plenty wide amount of green now, white now. I need that flat. So we'll take it into this slot. Take about not much white. Put that away. Let's mix this. It's 50-50 basically. It's not as light as on there, so we need more white. This is why you need a lot of brushes sometimes. That's about the right shade. There go my instructions. And we're just going to take it inside here. Inside here. So we've got the green inside, and we need a little bit more Pt2. Now we don't worry about the back of this, it will not be seen in the model at all, so we can just plonk it on the back and paint the front. That's our internal cockpit green base for some of that. So now this is pulled up a bit in some of the details. We'll just brush it out a bit. I'm just brushing the excess paint into the back of the fuselage because it doesn't matter about it being there. You just want this to keep the details obvious and clear. Just like that. And we'll put the white away. Put these away. That's still the Helier blue for the underside of the wings, which we're not going to touch right now. I've not cleaned my brushes properly, so we'll use the last of the untouched to just clean this brush. I don't normally use such a tall jar. That's that one. And I have all these other brushes from the previous session as well that I've not cleaned. So I need a bit of TLC in a moment. We're going to give this a minute. I'm probably not going to give these another coat of that. It worked quite well. What I will look at is the control for the board. A2. This sprue A. This one. A2. Oh, good grief. So A2 is... Sorry. A2 is this spindly thing. So letting the blue tack take the weight of the cut. So I've cut this sprue. This sprue at the bottom here has been cut away from the V. So if I actually cut that now, it frees the M. You can see the M is free. I think the other side will be okay to cut with the flat-ended snips. One. Two. So let's clean this up a little bit. It's a little bit of over sprue just here at the top. A little bit here on the side, and here on the side. This underside won't be visible, so you can pick up the model. Go back to our green. You can just paint in the colour. On the struts, just like that. And this is a trick that I actually do because I want it to look unpainted by a brush, and it's quite thin because of the water that was on the brush. Just blow it back, you get a nice even coat on long strips of plastic. You can just see the V shape now. So now I've got an even coat. Okay, let's just do the water change. 2 seconds. There we go. So we've now got our clean fresh water again and our dirty water that side. Some of these need a bit of TLC because I've got stuff on them, but we'll go back, reset, and look at that transfer. Let's have a look. So it's clearly that one. And the way I do transfers, if I can find one, of course I can't find one. Stop doing that window. Okay. Ta-da! The lid of the jar. So this is warm water this time because I knew I was going to do this. And I want my microsol, microset, and this that I painted earlier. Just want to take the worst of the wet paint off, like that. And so setting solution conforms to regularities. Don't want that one. We want to improve cohesion. We want the blue one. And I'll need a brush for this. We want warm water and the decal into the water. We literally just watch it for a second. Stick that down. So we're sticking that down. Cocktail stick will be useful for this. This one's got paint already, but that end's clean. So we'll just check the decal wants to move, which it does. And pick it up, shake off the worst, and just let capillary action take the rest. And on the surface, just put some microset. And I've slid it in place. And I'm just going to leave it for a second. And I will get clean cotton wood, and I will start to just push excess fluid out from underneath. That's set firm already because the microset was underneath. It should be fine. I don't need to use microsol. There's no detail, no surface detail. It is literally just the controls drawn on the fascia. Excuse me. Dog having a growl. Just take the microset off that, and I just want to touch up with this cockpit colour. A little bit I scraped off earlier. Just like that. So there they are, the controls are on. So that seat, back, fuselage, inners for the cockpit prepared. We're going to dry brush that. I'm going to highlight this with some steel. So that is steel this time. Stone grey, of course can't see it now. Aluminium. I can't see for looking. There you go, steel. As for the hot water, it's just going to go in my training jar. That can go back over there. This is just steel. Need to mix it. Just a couple of dots in the top of the lid, and I'll get a fine brush. So this is quite a large but a fine brush. I'll just pick it up and I'm going to run it along the tubes. Brush is rebelling. Just like that. Down on these. That cotton bud I was using before, just to wick out the excess. You can't probably see, but at the bottom here there are two sets of 3 dots, like bulkhead dots, where it actually connects in. But the steel is so subtle, a colour against the green, you can hardly tell, but I know I've done it. There are some dots on there, and there are some markers where we're going to attach the belt. You see this groove here? That's where we're going to push the cut belts into when we make them. This is now dry enough to handle. This is fine to handle. So this is the seat going on. It's fine to just use a bit of contactor this time. Wherever I put it, just there. I had it lined up. My fingers are rebelling because my fingers are sticking to the surface because it's a matte finish and it hasn't been sealed. It tends to want to hold on to you rather than other bits of plastic. And the sun's gone in at just the wrong moment, so I can't see quite what I'm doing. Nope, just not happy with it. There we go. Literally just leave it now because that was the wrong material for that. I thought it would be fine. It clearly was not fine. But you can see the stark contrast between the green and the seat at least. We're getting somewhere. And now we will let it all set. I'm afraid we're going to do some next time. We're going to paint some detail into the camouflage, into the fuselage. We're going to paint some detail into this seat when it sets. We're going to marry up the seat, and we're probably going to, off camera, I will finish painting the pedals with this colour. So we'll have all the cockpit parts, and what we'll do is next episodes we'll detail the inside of the cockpits area. We'll detail some of the switches and lights. We'll follow this reference material here for the left hand side, and we will start to marry them together. We'll unwrap the wing as well, because we'll have had 2 days to cure by then. See you soon.